So it finally happened. After 26 years, we finally got a sequel to the beloved Sega series, Streets of Rage, with Streets of Rage 4. Being a Sega Genesis kid of the 90s, I absolutely adored the Streets of Rage series. The first game on the Genesis, released in 1991, was fantastic. The second game, released in 1992, was even better. And the third one, released in 1994, was... well, not as good as the second one, but you know what? It was still a pretty good game. And I find it kind of weird that the franchise didn't get a fourth game much earlier. I mean, developers wanted to. Like Core Design, the developers of the Tomb Raider series, wanted to make a new Streets of Rage game, but Sega declined and we got Fighting Force instead. But you know what? In my opinion, it's never too late to bring back a franchise. I'll admit though, I was a bit skeptical at first. There's been many times when franchises do come back to flat or unworthy results. But the developers of Streets of Rage 4, a combo of .emu, Lizard Cube, and Guard Crush games, really made something that's worthy of a sequel. So, without further ado, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the awesome that is Streets of Rage 4. The story takes place 10 years after Streets of Rage 3, where we saw the end of the evil crime boss, Mr. X. Well, now the city has a new crime syndicate, Mr. X's children, the Y-Twins. Blaze Fielding gets the old gang together and we're off to save the city. Speaking of the old gang, let's talk about our playable cast. First off, we got Streets of Rage frontman Axel Stone returning. And man, he's bulked the hell up. According to his bio, after Streets of Rage 3, he went to go live in the wilderness. Judging by his shaggy appearance, it shows. Next, we got our lovely Blaze Fielding, and damn did they make her thick. She's not just a pretty face though, she's still an ass-kicking judo expert. We also got a new face, Cherry Hunter, daughter of Adam Hunter from the first game. Not only did she inherit brawling talents from her dad, she can beat your ass with a guitar. Another new face is Floyd. After some work accident left him armless, I really want to know about that honestly, Dr. Zan gives him some new robo-arms and he joins the Streets of Rage team because why not? And minor spoiler, but after the first few levels, Adam Hunter becomes playable. This is pretty cool because this is the first time since the very first game that he's been playable. These are just the first 5 characters you can play as, but there's more you can unlock later. I really like some of these new designs and I think everyone looks pretty cool. I mean, the developer Lizard Cube produces some really beautiful animations, so everyone is going to look good no matter what. Each character has approximately 1,000 frames of animation and damn, it's like playing a cartoon. It is amazing. Lizard Cube also worked on the Wonder Boy remake a while back, which is also beautiful to look at, and I'd love to see them tackle another retro Sega franchise, something like Shinobi or Golden Axe. I also think they can do some really amazing things for a Comic Zone sequel if given a chance. But back to the game. This is the Streets of Rage we know. Use the punch button to perform strike attacks. Hold it down, then release it for a strong strike. Get close enough to an enemy and you'll grapple them and be able to perform various attacks from there. You can still jump, of course, and do jump attacks. You can still do running blitz attacks, and there's even a button to do a quick punch behind you. Special moves also return. They can be done in various ways, but it will take some of your life to perform them. However, if you don't get hit by an enemy afterwards, you can regain that health back. Each character can also do super star specials by collecting star icons. As you walk around stages, you'll also find point items, health, stars, and weapons to use. Weapons are pretty cool here because not only can you throw weapons, you can catch them on the rebound to use again. The gameplay is fine-tuned and pretty damn good. The only issue I really have with it is that there's no way to really defend yourself. Now, the first 2 Streets of Rage games were like that too, but in Streets of Rage 3, which gameplay-wise I like the most out of the originals, everyone can both run and do a dodge roll. That's not the case here. Cherry is the only regular character that can run while everyone else just walks. When I'm playing as, say, Axel, I just feel like this big, slow target. Sometimes I could see an enemy attack coming, but I can't really do anything about it because I'm too slow to move and I can't block. I just have to take the hit. Sure, Axel hits hard, but I don't really like using him as much as I'd like. I tried using my most favorite character from the other games, Blaze, but I feel like she suffers from some of the same issues. Once I started playing as Cherry though, I wondered why I'd even want to go back to playing any of the other characters. Cherry can dash, has some cool attacks, and can rake in some awesome combos. She's hands down the best character in this game. I found Adam was pretty good to use too. I like his little dash attack and he's overall well balanced. There's also Floyd. He's basically your strongman character that can pick up and carry bad guys around. He's alright to use, but I'm just not drawn to his character, so I never play as him. Streets of Rage 4 focuses a lot on getting continuous hit combos rather than just beating up bad guys and moving right. Get a high combo for more points. Points actually mean something in this game too, as you can gain more lives, you'll get a higher letter rank at the end of the level, and as you collect more points, they'll be used towards unlocking retro versions of characters, which I'll get to a bit later. And to help out with combos, the developers made it so that when you're beating up enemies, they don't fly off screen, leaving you to wait for them to attack again. They stay in the damn screen. It's such a simple improvement, and I love it. Overall, the gameplay is still great, but like I mentioned, I wish there was some kind of defense mechanism. I don't know if having a straight-up block button would be blasphemous in the Streets of Rage series, but if done in a way like you can still take damage, but it's minimal, and it would break a combo you have going just to make it fair, it might work. Or like I said already, bring back the dodge roll. I think I would have a much more enjoyable time. Not that my time with the game was bad whatsoever, I actually really enjoy the game. So there's 12 levels total, and they're all nicely detailed. They just look great. Some even have some cool Easter eggs. The levels aren't too short nor too long, and I feel have just the right amount of health items to make it fair. At least it does when I play, which is mostly in normal mode. If you can find them, there's even hidden retro boss fights. When it comes to enemies, there's lots of familiar faces, and there's also a lot of new ones. I love just about all the new characters, and I think that's due to the developers giving them so much personality in their animations. It's pretty neat. Outside of the story mode, there are a few extra modes. There's arcade mode, which is essentially story mode but with only one continue. There's level select, so you can replay levels and work on getting a higher rank. There's boss rush mode, which is exactly what it sounds. And there's also battle mode, where you and a friend can duke it out on a stage of your choice. The music is also pretty killer here, as it should be considering past Streets of Rage composers like Yuzo Koshiro and Motohiro Kawashima come back for a few tracks. There's actually quite a few composers that worked on the music, but Olivier Derivière, which I'm pretty sure I said wrong, who's worked on music for games like Obscure, Remember Me, and Alone in the Dark, is the main composer. His work here is pretty great. So I gotta say, Streets of Rage 4 hits the mark on just about everything. Visuals, audio, and gameplay are all solid. The game is also full of content. While there is only 12 stages, and you might be replaying those quite a bit, I'm still wanting to go back and play. There's lots of unlockable characters, 13 to be exact. You're quite literally unlocking characters from the original Streets of Rage games, and they play exactly like they do in those games. So even if you have 4 different versions of Axel, they're not all identical. And since they're bringing back in retro characters, that also means we're getting the likes of Skate, Max, Dr. Zan, and Shiva playable. That's straight up awesome! Although I don't think it's likely, as no DLC or future updates have been talked about at this time, I would love to see more characters added in the future. Like the new character Estel is pretty cool, and she seems like she'd fit right in with the rest of the cast. I'd love to see modern versions of Max and Shiva playable as well. And what about Rue? If these characters don't get added, I won't be upset though, as Streets of Rage 4 is a complete package, and they went all out. Just looking through the options, they have so many things you can change up. You can change the screen filters, you can replace the music with retro songs from the first 2 games, hell, you can even change the food power-ups. So, is Streets of Rage 4 worth it? Absolutely. For only $25, I feel this game is easily worth more. My negatives for this game are very small. Like I said, I wish there was a bit of a defensive side to combat, but the gameplay still works. And the ending of the game falls flat. It's just like, oh, the game's over. Other than those 2 things, I got nothing but nice things to say. This is a Streets of Rage game made for fans of the series. It has pretty much everything you'd want in a sequel. It's a shame it took 26 years to get here, but hey, it's here, and I love it.